We're going to bring in our longtime friend, Ryan Ballantine from the Horsemen. Like he's laughing already. Stampeders blogger, podcaster, and chief punk. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good, man. I'm really excited to hear that Ben Cahoon's protein bars are not as rank as you think. What an endorsement.
Did I say that?
What an endorsement.
Clark, don't send him that clip. Don't send him that clip. And also of Big Brother Canada. So, Ryan, can you settle a tie here? I said that my gut tells me the CFL will play. Naylor doesn't seem to think they will play. In the CFL, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think they should play. Let's be frank. Like you've got the situation with COVID-19 and the coronavirus is completely out of control in the United States, and half the players in the league are going to be coming up from the United States. So they're not looking at quarantining these guys. You're not looking at a lot of cash for these guys. What is it, a 33% paycheck? I just really don't think it's a reasonable thing to try and put a season together. And I completely disagree with your take that if they're gone for a year, that it will damage the league and be irreparable. I mean, unless there's some sort of financial consideration that TSN can sue them for, I really don't think that there's any reason that fans won't love them more when they come back. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. A year off from the CFL, I think, will make those passionate, diehard CFL fans really kind of come back to the game in a way that they might not have with this 6-game season. I don't see anybody running around saying that the 6-game season is something that they really desperately want. All the fans I see are seeing people say, I just want the players to be safe. And I think that's another thing that for me sets the CFL apart from other sports leagues. I think the fans care more about the players than they do in the other big four, if you will.
I think they do too, but they want them to be safe, but they don't want they don't care about grocery workers that are working on the front lines or health workers. Like, I'm not being argumentative here, Ryan, at all. I think we both would like to see them on the field. That's all. And I just think with what Naylor's saying, that the CFL could survive without a season, is that he's providing a soft landing spot here for the league in the event that it doesn't play. But I'm also very big on, in the recovery world, brain pathways, habit. And if people get out of if they start watching NFL, dude, if they start watching NASCAR and all the other things that can take their attention away, it's going to be hard to get them back. Could you at least agree with me on that?
I think anytime you take any kind of sports and put it in front of people, they're going to pay attention to it. But I think if you watch an NFL game and you don't love the CFL just a little more, I don't think you're really that big a CFL fan in the first place. When you watch the NFL game, they slam into the middle of the line. They're trying to get CFL offenses going. I mean, Patrick Mahomes looks like a 90s era Doug Flutie out there just firing passes all over the place and wowing everybody, and isn't this spectacular? It doesn't really take into account that that's what's happening every week in the CFL. The CFL is a unique game. It's unique to Canada. There's a great reason to watch the CFL. And for me, as much as an NFL fan as I am, I watch NFL football as well. That makes me love the CFL that much more. And I think the diehard, passionate CFL fans are going to really want to dive back into the CFL, even though their attention would be gone. Just because my buddy went away on vacation doesn't mean that I'm not going to go for a beer with him when he gets back.
Yep, fair enough. But to me, I think the CFL is a far better product than the NFL too. But it comes down to marketing.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all.
It's all dollars. I mean, if the CFL, if you made the CFL rule set the NFL rule set next year, NFL honks would be all over it. They'd love the CFL rule set. If it had always been that way, it would be as popular as ever. It is a marketing issue. It's what my dad grew up with. It's what I watched on TV with my dad when I was a kid, and that's what we're getting into now with what we're seeing with the NFL. It is absolutely a marketing machine that they drive billions of dollars into the market every year and pull even more billions out because they were able to get themselves on TV on a Sunday afternoon when there was nothing else to watch.
Well, we can agree there then that the CFL does need to evolve from a marketing perspective, but not necessarily a football perspective, because I do believe it's a tremendous product too. Now, one of the notes Clark sent me to bring up in our topic here is the 6-game season. So I think you might have tipped your hand here by saying you don't think they should play at all. So that would probably tell me that you're not a fan of the 6-game concept.
I mean, I think you need an 8-game concept at a bare minimum, and then what you do is you decide to hold the Grey Cup inside in the playoffs, or the playoffs inside. I think you have to have an 8-week schedule where every team plays each other at least once, because otherwise some teams are going to get the competitive advantage of not having to play Hamilton, of not having to play Calgary, of getting to play the Argos or getting to play the Red Blacks, and other teams not getting to play those teams. I think when you look at a 6-game schedule, the competitive imbalance, especially when you're talking about the team with the best record hosts the Grey Cup. Well, if your team has Calgary and Hamilton on it and you don't get the Argos and the Red Blacks, what kind of competitive disadvantage are you at? And then you're not going to be in as good a spot headed into the playoffs. I think you need to do a minimum 8-game schedule, have the playoffs, and confirm early that you're going to book BC Place, or you're going to book, the Sky Dome or some ridiculous thing where you're going to have the games inside in the playoffs, because then it doesn't matter if you go into December. You're playing outside in November in Winnipeg anyway. Like, it doesn't stop the game from being meaningful, because we're not going to have fans going to these games anyway. They're likely going to be in a hub city. Then put them in the hub city of Winnipeg for your regular season, and then move into the playoffs and do those inside where the weather won't matter, and it doesn't matter if you delay the game to December.
But you still don't think they'll play. Am I right on that?
I don't think they'll play. I don't think they're going to be able to get around it. I think if it was a Canadian league made up of Canadian players, I think they could absolutely do this. But that's not what we are. We're a Canadian league made up of half Canadians, half Americans, and your 1% global players or whatever. But at the end, there's no way you can bring these guys up without isolating them and testing them regularly. It's just not going to be feasible.
I agree. And sorry to cut you off, but it's just, I'm with you. I flop back and forth. Everybody says that. Morley Scott was on here Monday, said the same thing. But Randy Ambrosie and the Governors are trying to move mountains to play. So it's like,
of course they have to. Of course, the league has to do it. The league has to look like they're moving mountains. The league has to give every appearance that they're going to do everything they can to get the players on the field, because otherwise you lose the loyalty of the players because, well, we just canceled the season and it doesn't matter. And so those guys that are on the 46 of 46 guy on the roster, maybe he's not coming back to the CFL. Maybe he's going to move on to a different place in his life because they've said, well, they went a whole year without paying me, so what does it matter? I had to go out and get another job. And you also can't tell the fans, hey, we've canceled this. We don't care. Even though our championship game isn't for another 5 months, we're already telling you it's not going to be okay. The optics have to be that the league has to show every step that they're taking towards making this happen. A realist standpoint, though, when you see what's going on in the States, this isn't closing anytime soon. They just shut the border again until the middle of August or end of August. This isn't happening. And I think the sooner they embrace that and come out and say it's a safety thing. Hey, for the safety of our players, we care so much that we're willing to take this hit. Fans are going to, my season ticket money's still there. They can hold on to it. I don't care. I don't need it back. I'm still going to be going to games when it's in the future. It's the broadcast partners that might make the difference here.
I saw a report from Hamilton that over 90% of Ticats season ticket holders have left their money with the team. So there's no doubt that the love for the league is there. But I think it's going to take more than that. Lastly, producer Clark has put on the prompter that I should ask you about why the Flames should lose in the first round. Is that the notion that you're purporting here entering the Stanley Cup playoffs?
I'm a Flames fan. I'm a Flames season ticket holder. I will put those two things right out front before I say that. I'd rather have a 1-in-8 shot at the best player in the draft than a second-round team. I don't think the Flames are good enough right now, realistically, to be Stanley Cup champions. And so there's two big prizes on the line right now with return to play for the NHL. There is the Stanley Cup, and there is the number 1 overall draft pick. Those are the only two prizes available to playoff teams. And given that my team could have a 1-in-24 shot at the Stanley Cup or a 1-in-8 shot at the number 1 overall pick, I'd rather have the number 1 overall pick than a second-round loss.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got the Jets to win it in 5 anyways, and I'm not even a Jets fan, so maybe you'll get what you wish, Ryan.
I mean, who is really?
Say what? Say that again?
I said no one is really a Jets fan. The city of Winnipeg has disappeared from my sporting landscape, and I can say that. I know you can. Didn't you have a Jets jersey on the other day?
No.
Or Bombers, something Winnipeg.
It was a Bombers shirt. It was a Bombers shirt that was sent to me.
How did that feel? Like, I can imagine it would be like me walking into a church and putting the holy water in my eyes.
You know what?
I just can't imagine it would feel good.
It wasn't as hard as you'd think, as a matter of fact. It wasn't as hard as you think at all. But I will say this. I don't know that I will ever see eye to eye with Calgarians. And I don't even know why it would be worth trying. I just don't know why it would be worth it. Do you think that day would ever come? And is it even worthwhile exploring?
Look, it's not that you can't see eye to eye with Calgarians. It's that, the part is tough because as a Riders, a longtime Riders employee, you spent so long looking up that it's impossible to be looking eye to eye. Calgarian fans know who you are, and let's not forget that, as part of what you do, picking on the Stampeders was a great thing to do because they were the front dogs, and so they're the ones that you're going to attack all the time. If the Stampeders sucked, we never would have heard from Rod Pedersen. The reason we heard from you was because we were the lead dog, and you guys wanted to be the lead dog. That's fine. I have no qualms. You always attack the guy in first place. You know why everyone hates the Patriots? Because they've won a ton. Everybody hates the Cowboys because they've got 5 rings to show for it. The reason people hate the Stampeders is because they're the best team in the CFL over the last 3 decades. And that's not even arguable. Statistically, 3 decades of dominance from Calgary. And so Calgarians don't like it when people take shots at them, and you took your shots. I see it for what it was. It's fine. We're good.
What color is the sky in your world, Ryan?
Well, based on the Roughnecks, Stampeders, and Flames all being that right perfect red, the sky is blue, but in the CFL, the standard is red.
Well, we had Nick Lewis in here saying the Stampeders underachieved. So I just remember every time the Riders played him in the playoffs, we beat him. When the chips were down, Sask won.
Let's not say every time. I mean, first off, you had to get to a game against Calgary, which is not something you did all that frequently. It's one thing to say we came in and we upset you.
I don't want to turn this into a WWE skit. But were you sick the day of the 2010 West Final?
No, I was there. I mean, again, you've got individual playoff victories that you can point to, which is great. The problem is with Calgary, we've got so many playoff victories that it's hard to remember individual ones because we've got
losses,
so many of them.
Losses, clearly. Okay, Ryan.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I appreciate the go-around. Let's do it again soon.
Every time and any time, Roddy. Always happy to be here.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Ryan Ballantine, Chief Punk. He likes that out there in Calgary. Oh, here's one. Don't put this on my tombstone, guys. Jeff, the Stamps fan, just wrote in, you have to be great to underachieve, Rod. Said no one ever. We're going to talk some Blue Jays next. Hang on. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show. Facebook Live, Game Plus TV Network, and listen live at rodpeterson.com.
Building a deeper connection with our fans by putting them in the show. It's a new era of sports talk. The Rod Pedersen Show airs from 10 to noon, Monday to Friday on Facebook Live. Join the conversation today and tune in. Online, on your phone, at home, at work. Follow us on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. And subscribe on YouTube for all the content you want to watch. Don't wait. Do it right now.